my name is Lisa Calamon. Welcome to our webcast with Cooper Levenson attorneys Alexander Rigdon and Cynthia Grob. Hi, Lexi. Hi, Cynthia. How are you guys?
Hi there.
Hi, it's been a while.
I know. So today we're talking about updates on how the court is now functioning in this new virtual world. So Cynthia, I'm going to start with you. How is the court handling motions and conferences?
Okay, well, in general, just to kind of give a broader perspective, the courts in New Jersey are remaining virtual for the most part. In family law matters, we have all kinds of different matters, and pretty much what Lexi and I have found is that it's only a rare occasion now is anyone required for a personal appearance. So right now, everything is happening still virtually, and by virtual, that means that either you're appearing for matters by a Zoom conference, via GoToMeetings, some kind of virtual platform, or the court is handling things by way of telephone conference. So a lot of times there is, I would say that county to county, the protocols for those things are different. So it's important for any litigant with counsel to talk to their attorney about what's expected, anticipate. And then on the other hand, if they're self-represented, they need to be reaching out to the court. And a lot of times there's a lot of lag time for that to occur. You can't just call in and get a live body because most of the court employees are working remotely. So they retrieve messages, but they don't get back to the litigants or lawyers right away. Attorneys have access to the email with the court in some limited functions, so we certainly do follow up in that regard. So with regards to both matrimonial litigation and FD matters, which are between parties who have not been married, for the most part, any motion or conference takes place either by telephone or by virtual connection. And what we often talk with our clients about and have clients question is what's the level of formality, what's really happening on those calls or on those appearances. And I would say that the tips we have are that the formality of the court remains. And I think the best way for us to assist our clients through those procedures are to go through what those expectations are. And they're all the ones that you hear, be wary of what's behind you, who's around you, ensuring that you're not interrupting or speaking out of turn. So a lot of our appearances, we're sitting on a Zoom call or some kind of conference call, just like we are right now. And the only difference is that you have a judge sitting in a robe, likely in their home, conducting business as usual. So, so that's what we found is that the majority, it goes by county, but the majority of motion hearings are occurring via Zoom or some type of video conference. And then other conferences or one-off kind of appearances like putting through an uncontested divorce, courts are using them at different levels. They're doing either that by telephone or by Zoom.
And another thing that I have found is that there's no uniformity with the courts of what they use. It seems to be up to the individual chambers to a large degree. Some of them use Microsoft Teams. When I do MESP panels in Burlington, for example, and I serve as a panelist there, I use Microsoft Teams, and that can be video or phone. Most of the time, exclusively, like let's say Gloucester County, they do Zoom for everything, even for conferences. And then Camden County, I had a situation the other day where I assumed it would be via Zoom, and it was actually via telephone. So it seems to be based on the technological capabilities. I was told by someone in Camden that they only have a few Zoom virtual courtrooms. And so seems to sort of be based upon what the judge might want and the technological capabilities of everybody. And, unfortunately, I have clients who will email me the day before the hearing and say, where's the information for the hearing? And they don't give it to you until sometimes the morning of or the afternoon of, if you have an afternoon hearing, because they are using the same link and the same call-in information. And they don't want a bunch of people not involved in the case on it. So logistically, it's amazing how they've pulled it together, but it's a challenge, and we're still kind of growing and learning. Hopefully it won't be like this forever. We're only in, I think, phase 2 of the judiciary's opening plan. I wanted to talk a little bit about trials, because trials are a whole different can of worms. I mean, with motions and conferences, you're not really, with some exceptions, you're not really judging credibility. Nobody's testifying. But when you actually have a trial, the judge needs to see your face, see how you're presenting yourself, see if you come across as being credible or not, because credibility is a big part of a judge's findings based on the trials. And so I recently did a domestic violence trial, or at least started one via Zoom, and it was pretty much what you would expect. It was, you know, a judge remotely, a court clerk, my client and I were in two different places, the client and the other attorney were in two different places, and we each had two witnesses apiece. They were all in different places too. So we had basically 10 people on the Zoom screen. And the interesting thing about that is that actually one of the witnesses was with my client because they were related and they lived in the same house. And so when we asked to sequester the witnesses, we all thought, well, what are we going to do? I mean, they're in the same house. And so the judge basically entered a very modern day post-pandemic sequestration order saying, you need to go in the other room, you need to close the door, don't come out, don't listen, don't discuss your testimony and everything like that. So the court has definitely adapted, but it is a logistical challenge. And quite frankly, it would be much easier to just go to the courthouse with your evidence and sit there and wait to be heard, especially when you're coordinating all these people. And I've even had situations where somebody's internet connection drops off in the middle of a hearing. And so they're gone and nobody can get them back. And the court doesn't know whether to keep on rolling or wait for them to come back. So it's presented its unique challenges, but again, the court's adapted. So the trials, I've also had attorneys object on the basis of due process and fairness, especially in domestic violence cases where a final restraining order is serious relief that lasts presumptively forever and unless and until it's vacated. There have been attorneys that have said it's not fair to the defendant to try these types of things on Zoom, and the court and the administrative office of the courts pretty much says, tough, this is how we're doing it, nobody's coming in person. And so that's our cross to bear for now, but hopefully it will get better as time goes on and we'll all be back in person.
Yeah, and I think a good tip that we both have been sharing with our litigants and our clients is that they just need to be prepared for everything. I think that if someone is thinking that they will just not show their face on a Zoom and they'll call into the Zoom, they need to think otherwise, because the court can require people to personally appear and have themselves come onto camera. And so our coaching tip is to just be camera ready, to be ready and be presentable, to not try to wing it and drive somewhere and get into a conference from your cell phone while you're in motion and you don't have a positive internet connection. They're simple things, but I think that those are the simple things that are important for litigants to understand, and attorneys, quite frankly, and to respect about this process, because the court believes in decorum, and it's our jobs collectively to ensure that that decorum is met, and that the same regard for the procedure is held, whether you're personally appearing or you're appearing virtually.
Yeah, it's so important. I've had clients try to do these things in their car for privacy and everything like that, and they're not using Wi-Fi, they're using their LTE or whatever, 4G, 5G, whatever it is these days, and it doesn't work. And I even had one miss a ruling that the judge made that she otherwise wanted to say something about because she couldn't hear what he was saying, and I didn't know she couldn't hear it, and the court didn't know. And so it's just, if you're gonna be doing this and it's going to be via Zoom or Teams or anything like that, make sure you're prepared and you go somewhere or have a good Wi-Fi connection or go somewhere. It sounds elementary, but in the heat of the moment, people are nervous. They think that their phone is going to cut it, and a lot of times it just doesn't. So,
right.
Definitely a unique time that we're living in, and something to take into account, because it is your chance to get in front of the judge. So definitely good.
Never thought it would be like this, guys.
Hopefully soon we'll be, back in court and things will get a little bit more back to normal. So thank you both for that. That was really helpful. I think it's great to get an inside look now that we're what feels like 6 years into this pandemic, but is only about 6 months.
Yeah.
So as always, we like to end on a fun question. With the weather turning, what is your favorite fall activity?
Lexi,
well, I've been holding this in my hands because I think it's so funny. So this is my little pen friend. I'm like on Castaway when he makes friends with a volleyball. That's how I feel these days in my home office. So he and I like to go pumpkin picking. And I love decorating for fall. I have a lot of Halloween decorations up and pumpkins and wreaths, and I even have a candy corn wreath, not with real candy corn, or it would all be eaten. But so I just love the fall. I love decorating and buying stuff.
Well, I agree. My favorite thing about the fall is the foliage. Lexi makes fun of me because I call it leaf peeping, but that is, I definitely enjoy hiking and enjoying the changing colors of the season, and walking my dog and getting a good gander at the changing foliage.
So you're just a peeper.
Yeah.
I'm just a peeper.
It's a leaf peeper.
So is he. So he's a peeper too. See, he's peeping right now.
I know. I'm with Lexi. I feel like the turning over to fall in the home and getting the candles that are nice and fall scented and being able to have your hot coffee outside with a sweater on, it's all just my favorite part of the year.
Yes, the humidity needs to head south. I'm done with it.
I agree. Well, thank you both so much for jumping on. It's great to see you guys, even virtually.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you too.
And thank you for sharing the information, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks.
All right, thanks guys.
Bye.